Yes, good morning, students. Today our topic is cash and credit control. So, understand the nature of cash transaction at the front desk and ability to reconcile a cashier's drawer, a practical knowledge of risk associated with accepting cash and cash equivalents, understand the risk and the procedures related to the accepting a person or company check. Any awareness of risk associated with accepting foreign currency. Understand the risk and procedures related to accepting travelers. So we will discuss today different types of like how we can reconcile the cashier drawer, understand about the cash transactions of the front desk, which is the major part of our front office department that we have to uh, take and give cash to the guest, right? We have to be done by the cashier, done by these cashier transactions by the cash. So we have to be aware of this risk that associated with the accepting foreign currencies and understand the risk and procedures related to the accepting travelers, right? So major functions of front office cash and credit control. First is cash and credit are two modes of settlements at the departure stage of the guest cycle. Both involve an element of risk. This is true that whenever we are taking the cash from the guest on by the credit card, this has to be done in a proper manner or in a like this is the element where we have the element of risk that cash we can take less from the guest, right? If we are charging from the credit card machine, then might be some wrong amount we can post, right, or press. So this element is having a big risk, right? So at the time of settlement of modes, cash or credit card, we have to take care of it in a proper manner, right? We have to alert we are taking the cash, we have to count properly. If we are charging from the credit card or debit card, we have to press the right amount from the guest, right? So this mode is when we have done departure stage of the guest cycle. Tracking financial transactions of guests throughout the guest cycle. We have to track all the financial transactions when the guest is staying with us throughout the guest cycle. We have to track the financial transactions. Monitoring the credit limit of guests and asking for a deposit from guests in case of high outstanding balance. Yes, we have to monitor all the credit limits when the guest is staying with us. So we have to take care of it about the credit limit, asking for the deposit if the excess amount or high outstanding balance is done from the guest side. So we have to call them and politely we can ask to the guest that, sir, kindly submit some of the amount that you have an outstanding balance, high outstanding balance. So clear your credit limits as soon as possible. In a proper manner, we can inform to the guest and we can take the cash or buy or cash or credit card from the guest. Preparing a high balance report for collection and informing the management about the same. We have to prepare the high balance report for the collection and inform same about the to the management also. We have to inform, right? So providing an efficient management information system, that is IMIS, to the management to departmental revenue generation. Now we have to provide the efficient management information system to the management with the for the departmental revenue generation. What we are generating the revenue, we have to inform the management, right? So maintaining effective control over cash and credit transactions, we have to maintain this effectively, all the transactions, by the cash, by the credit card, right? So whenever we are taking or giving to the guest cash or by the credit card, we have to take care of it in a proper manner. Major functions of front office cash and credit control. Control is a function of the management. Major has five functions. So there are five functions for the control of functions of the management. First is planning, organizing, staffing, leading, directing, and motivating, evaluating, and controlling. This account is created during the registration of the guest, at the time of the check-in, or during reservations if the guest makes an advance payment. So these are all the major functions of the front office cash and control. We have to planning, we have to organize, we have to staffing, we have to leading, we have to directing and motivating, and evaluating and controlling, right? So organizational control is clear organization chart, clear responsibilities, so job description for each post, constant supervision to prevent shortcuts, physical and technological security measures, clear-cut procedures, regular training, continuous updating of procedures. These are all the important aspects on organizational control that we have to be take care of it with the proper clear organization chart. We have to take care of it, clear responsibilities through job description. We have to inform each and every our employee. Job description should be mentioned each and every person. They have to be done by the job description by the each and every your staff, right? So constant supervision also it's required. It prevents the shortcuts, right? So physical and technology securities measures we can do, or clear-cut procedures, regular training we have to give to the our staff. Regular training means how to take a cash, how to like down the credit card posting, right? And how to like charge to from the guest as a credit card, or how to settlement in the system, we have to see in a proper manner. Clear cut procedures, regular training, and continuous updating the procedures. Yes, continuous updating the procedures also is required in a hotel industry. Then cash control introduction we have to take, like cash is the company's most liquid assets, which means it can easily be used to acquire others' assets, buy services, or satisfy obligations. For financial reporting purpose, cash includes currency and coin on hand, money orders and checks made payable to the company, and available balances in checking and saving accounts. Basically, we have the cash and control. What like for the like assets, buy services or satisfying obligations, right? So if we are influencing currency like Indian, foreigner, right? And different types of like currencies we can use, points on hand, money orders we can take, or checks, right? So these are all come under cash window, cash control, and saving account also. Why cash control? To calculate the total amount of incoming cash. Why cash control is to calculate the total amount of incoming cash, right? To calculate the amount of outgoing cash, whatever the cash is coming in your front office and outgoing cash, right? To estimate the amount of cash available for business, at any particular point in the time cash flow to safeguard liquid assets. So estimate amount of cash available for the business, like particular point in the cash flow, like we have to take the cash from the guest at the time of checkout, at the time of check-in, we have to pay out something, we have to allowance something. So at the end, we have to calculate the total amount of incoming and to calculate the amount of outgoing cash. Then we can control the cash. So properly at the time of like every shift, we have to take the cashier report, open the cashier report and take the cash incoming or outgoing, all the information we have to get. And every shift is handover done by this only, that we have to check the cashier report first. What is settlement like by cash, by credit card, right? So this handover is like from the morning shift to afternoon shift to night shift. So this circle is going a whole day, right? So we have to check the incoming cash or outgoing cash from the front office.
Called petty
Internal
cash
control, petty
and what
cash.
it's used for and how companies would journalize transactions that come from petty cash. Petty cash is used as a control for cash because it's cash that you have on hand that you can use to pay for small expenditures. Like maybe you have a little cash zipper pouch or something like that where you keep $200 or something like that. Then you can go and pay for small.
Petty cash, cash kept on the hand to pay for small expenditures, right? So this is the format we have: date, account, titles and description, and PR, DR, credit, right?
Things, small office supplies, or that type of thing, where you don't have access to a large amount of cash at any one
Whatever the
time.
debit and credit.
Controls that you can still
Right.
have over the petty cash fund are things like a custodian. So one person would be assigned that controls this petty cash and reviews all the tickets. There's also something called an impressed system that typically petty cash will follow. The impressed system simply means when it has, if you have a petty cash fund that has $200 in the fund, it stays at $200. So when transactions affect the petty cash fund, they're actually affecting cash, not petty cash. And we'll see what that transaction looks like here in just a second. Also, in the petty cash fund, when money is paid from cash, then there should be a ticket in that pouch or box or whatever the money is kept in that signifies money was used to purchase something.
Petty cash, we have the cash on hand, right? From the management only, right? We have the some amount that we can pay, suppose for the tickets of the guests, any expenditure small for the bouquet we can purchase. So at the moment we can use on that moment, like suddenly we require some amount, like we have to spend something, so we have the cash with us that we can give them and we can fill this form, that petty cash fund, right?
So the first thing we have to do when we're interested in using a petty cash fund is to establish the fund. So you determine what amount you want held in the petty cash fund, 200, 300, 500, 1,000, whatever the case may be, and you make a transaction. So the money is going to come out of your cash account and into the petty cash fund or petty cash. So the transaction would look like this. We're going to credit the cash account and for whatever the amount is, and we're going to debit the petty cash fund or petty cash for that same amount. Now we have effectively created the petty cash fund. So now that we've established the petty cash fund, we can actually start making purchases from that fund. So for example, here we have a petty cash or receipt bag that has $78 in cash, and it shows tickets or receipts for delivery expense of $22, postage expense for $42, supplies expense for $42, and miscellaneous expenses of $16. The original balance was $200. So for me, the easiest way to journalize a transaction based on these expenses is to say, well, I started with $200 and I only have $78 left. So I'm going to have to put back in my bag $122. That's how much cash, no matter what the receipts add up to. I've got to get $122 back in that bag. That's because it's an impressed system. It has to stay at $200 at all times. So that $122 is going to come out of my cash account. I'm going to credit cash for $122. Now I'm just going to list all those expenses and record them in my books. Delivery expense, postage, supplies, and miscellaneous. In this case, we're happy because they actually all add up to $122, so everything seems to be fine. But what I want you to note here is there is no entry in this journal entry made to petty cash. So the only time you will see a journal entry made to petty cash is when you create it or if you ever change the balance that's in it. Notice we are crediting petty cash. We credit cash. We do not credit petty cash. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's an impressed system. But what happens if the cash receipts in the bag don't match the cash that's missing? Then what do we do? Well, here we have a different little scenario here. We still have $78 in cash, and we're supposed to have $200, and then we have our expenses. So it's the same scenario. We still know we're going to have to credit cash for $122. That's how much we need to put back in our bag. However, when we look at the expenses that we've got here, they only add up to $120. So we actually need a debit of $2 to make this journal entry balance. And this is called cash short and over. Okay, so it can be a debit or a credit to cash short and over. In this particular instance, we need a debit. Okay, so what happens here is it acts like an expense. It's short. Our bag was short. So if you have a balance in your cash short and over account at the end of the period, and it's a debit balance, then that's going to act like an expense on the income statement. If your cash short and over has a credit balance, it's going to act like a revenue. Well, let's take one more example. Here we have our petty cash fund once again. We have $78 in cash and it's supposed to be $200. So we know once again that we're going to have to credit cash for $122. But when we look at our expenses, they actually add up to $124, our receipts. So in this case, we're actually over. So we need a credit in this case to make it balance, to get that credit side up to $124. So at this instance, if these were two different transactions, our cash short and over balance would now have a zero balance, which is technically what we want to happen.
See, sometimes our cash is not like telling, like whatever the cash we have with us or cash over, right? So we have to write down each and everything in a proper manner, that what we have delivered, what we have post charges, what we have with us. Then we can calculate the short and over cash, right? Sometimes this happened at the reception that cash is not telling in a proper manner, equal, like remaining cash do not equal the original balance of the petty cash. So we have to take care of it. We have to make these journals so we can tally our cash in a proper manner, right? So petty cash is kept on the hand to the pay for small expenditures, right? So we have with us at the reception. What are the major functions of front office cash and credit control? Tracking financial transactions of the guest throughout the guest cycle, maintaining effective control over the cash and transactions, credit and cash and credit transactions, then maintaining store. Submit your answer fast. I'm going to end this poll. Submit your answer. Yes. Now both are right answers, first and second. Right? Now we can take second poll. Controls a function of the management. Manager has two functions: planning, organizing, parking. This is again a multiple choice question. Submit your answer fast. Submit your answer. Yes, both are right. Person sitting, planning and organizing.
Hello and welcome to the official Hospitalities episode. You will learn everything you need to know about
methods of payment in hotel. Introduction. Hotel earns money, mainly by selling rooms. It is the major responsibility of a front office agent to collect the room payment from guest properly. Generally, guests pay during their registration and in time of checkout. The widely used methods of guest payment in hotel industry are cash, credit card, personal check, direct billing. Please pause the video and click on this. Click again on the subs method. Some guests cash payment method. Some guests prefer to pay room charge by cash. Guests who lives for shorter period of time in hotel have such tendency.
As we all know that when the guest is staying with us, some of the guests is paying by the cash, right? So the cashier we have to take care of, like whatever the incoming and outgoing cash in. So the cashier should be know each and everything at the time of check-in or check-out. Whatever the balance is pending, we have to take from the guest, right?
If a guest wishes for cash payment, then, in times of registration, the front desk agent should acquire full room rate, taxes and some anticipated usage amount, such as room service, in-room phone etc., to avoid fraud. If any guest don't wish to pay anticipated amount in times of registration, then he will be charged and have to pay every time he purchases or uses any service from hotel. Credit card payment method. It is the most common method of payment. Some of the well-known brands are American Express, Diners Club, Visa, MasterCard, JCB.
This is the important common method of the payment. Yes, credit card or debit card we are using in a hotel. So some of the well-known brands we are having with us like American Express, Dinar Club, Visa, MasterCard, GCP, etc. The agent obtains a card can kinds of like registrations and has an important role
The agent obtains the
for the
card in
import
times of
imprint.
registration and has an imprint. Through the computer system, the agent can know whether the card is valid or not, with sufficient amount of money. This is referred to as card approval. Computer automatically calculates anticipated amount of money to be charged by calculating.
For the computer system, the agent can know whether the card is valid or not with sufficient amount of money. This is referred to a card approval. And computer automatically calculates the anticipated amount of the money to be charged by the calculating room rate and amount of stay.
Room rate and amount of stay. Payment by personal check. Personal check verification is a similar process, like credit card. Through the issuing bank, funds to cover are verified. For the approval of personal check, hotel needs following points of information: guest's driver's license number, address, contract details. These need to be written on the back side of the check. One point to be mentioned that traveler's check and certified check do not need any approval, because they are solely issued by exchange of payment, while those are issued direct billing method. Direct billing arrangement is made through guest or company and the front desk agent in advance of the guest arrival. In this case, the guest needs to just sign in the bill in times of check-in and check-out.
Direct billing, that guest is going to pay by directly, right? The arrangement is made through guest or company, and front desk agent in advance of the guest arrival. We can take the advance at the time of arrival also, right? In this case, the guest needs to just sign in the bill in times of check-in and check-out by the direct billing.
The agent reviews guest credit application and check the bill limit. Generally, hotels offer this type of methods to their loyal guests, or with whom hotels have prior contract. Bills are sent to guests in their office or other addresses after they finishing staying in the hotel.
The agent just reviews the guest credit application and checks whether the bill exceed the limit or not. This has to be done by the front office staff every day, right? Whatever the guest is, whosoever guest is staying with us, we have to check the limit, exceed limit, right? Generally offer this type of method of their loyal guests or with whom hotel has prior contracts. Bills are sent to the guest in their office or other address after verifying. Organization control, constant supervision to prevent shortcuts or constant service. Select the right answer. organization control, constant supervision to prevent shortcuts, or constant service. Hurry up, students. Submit your answer. Submit your answer. Hurry up, students. Hurry up. I'm going to end this call fast. Submit your answer. Yes. So the right answer is first one, constant supervision to prevent shortcuts. Right? Cash and control. Cash and credit control. This is the one major chart that when guests checking out, settle account, credit cards, travelers checks, personal checks, right? So role of the cashier, maintenance support, day-to-day work, prepare accounts, foreign exchange, handles cash. These are involved cash and credit control. These are all the that work we have to do at the reception. Then when the guest is checking out, settle accounts in cash, credit card, traveler check, right? Personal checks, role of the cashier, maintenance reports, right? Day-to-day work and prepare accounts, foreign exchange. If we have any foreign exchange with us, then we can prepare this also. Handles cash. We have to handle the cash, whatever the incoming cash or credit outgoing cashes. We have to maintain all the transactions of the done in the day. We have to take care of it by the front office staff or cashier, right? What is cash payment? Cash payment, the cash mode includes payment of bill in Indian rupees and acceptable foreign currencies such as dollars or pounds. An encashment certificate is also issued to the guest. As we have already discussed in a previous classes also, an encashment certificate we issue to the guest, right? For the foreign currency when we exchange to the guest, right? No one is allowed to take out export Indian currency out of the India. In case they don't possess the proper receipt, then the unspent Indian currency will not be covered back. So this has to be taken care of by the foreigner guest, right? Then we have the all credit card have a fixed limit up to which credit can be extended at the one time the card holders. In case the bill amount crosses the limit, then a special permission has to be obtained from the bank issuing the credit card. When we are talking about the cash or credit card, we have the all credit have a fixed limit up to which credit can be extended at the one time of the card holder. As we all know that we have the credit limits at the credit card also, right? So if the bill amount crosses the limit, then the special permission has to be obtained from the bank issuing the credit card, right? Settlement of bill through traveler's check. These are issued by various banks in various denominations. For example, rupees 50, 100, 500, 5,000 or 1 lakh, 10,000 also. So usually travelers buy them as they are very safe and risk of the carrying cash will be avoided. When we are talking about a cash traveler's check, then we can issue the various banks in the various denominations. For example, rupees 50, 100, 500, 5,000 and 10,000 also. This is the safest thing that you can carry in everywhere, that you can, like, you usually travel by them as they are very safe, and so this carrying cash is avoided when we are traveling somewhere. So traveler's check is the safest way to carry out with us. These checks can be purchased by anyone by going to those banks which are issuing traveler's checks. The traveler's check is valid for 6 months from the date of issue. That is again a good point, that sometimes if we are like planning somewhere we are going, then we take the traveler's check and somehow we can't go in that way, place. So we can use this traveler's check till 6 months from the date of issue, right? So this is again a good point.